Hello everybody and welcome back to another Team Memes Not Meta deck profile. Today we have a very special joint deck profile. Andrew here along with team member Brian behind the camera, and we're taking a look at a deck that both Andrew and Aidan have attempted to build over the past year. And guys, what is that deck that we're looking at today?
Magical Musketeers.
Magical Musketeers, a very fun deck indeed. A lot of stuff it can do, isn't that right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's an interesting control deck, so it's unique. So I think it's pretty fun.
It's quirky.
Very unique, and it's got a couple cards that make it pretty solid, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
It's got some good support over the past couple years, and it's in a solid spot. So with that said, we're going to get right into it. We're going to take a look at first the cards that they agree on, which is a good amount of the deck, and then we're going to explain then some of the differences, as both of them have different variants. I believe you guys said one of them is a going first build and one is a going second. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's right. So I am playing a going first build, and then
Aiden, I'm playing a going second variant.
Excellent. So we're going to take a look at the cards that are similar in both deck lists, and then we are going to take a look at the changes they've made each in their own variants. We're going to put both deck lists as well in the description so you guys can pick and choose or mash them together in any way you want to find the best combination that you think works. Reminder, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, leave a comment. We really appreciate it here on the channel. And hey, without further ado, let's get right into it.
All right, so Aidan and I can both agree that the best monster in the deck is going to be playing 3 copies of Magical Musketeer Caspar. Right, Aidan?
Yeah, for sure. Now, why don't you go ahead and explain what this does real quick?
So Caspar is what you want to see on your field at all times. Now, every Musketeer has an effect where if a spell or trap is activated in their column, then they get additional effects off. And they all let you play Magical Musketeer spells and traps from your hand. So you don't need to set any traps to play their effects. You can just kind of be like, okay, I'm playing this normal trap from my hand on your opponent's turn. So if Caspar gets his effect off in a column, he lets you search for any Magical Musketeer card. Am I right?
Yeah, any Musketeer Musketeer.
Yes, I haven't played him in a few months, but quite good. Okay, and Aidan, what do we have next?
So next we have triple Magical Musketeer Starfire. Similar effect where if you activate a spell or trap in Starfire's column, you can special summon another Magical Musketeer monster from your deck to the field. Great for generating more advantage, so in some cases you'll want to go Starfire just right into Caspar so that you can special summon another monster and then search for another card for more advantage, or as we'll talk about later, we have other level 4 Magical Musketeer monsters, and we can use that for cards like Utopia Double, which we do play, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But definitely a good card you want to play 3 of.
And the first part where we're going to differ a little bit is on Magical Musketeer Kidbrave. So I play 2 while Aidan plays 3. So what he does is, if a card's activated or spell trap in his column, you're able to discard 1 Magical Musketeer card and draw 2. So he's a little bit of draw support, 1600. He's a decently sized body.
Next we both play 2 copies of Magical Musketeer Doc. This card is really great because anytime you activate a card in this column, you can add a Magical Musket spell or trap from your graveyard back to your hand. This is one of the most important cards in the mid game because you'll be able to bring him out and keep recycling between your graveyard and searching for your deck for your specific spell or traps.
And real quick, I wanted to say he adds a Magical Musketeer card from grave, not just spell or trap.
Okay, right.
So just before we get yelled at in the comments. Next, we agree on 1 copy of Magical Musketeer Wild. So 1700 body, level 4, and his effect is you can shuffle back 3 Magical Musketeer cards from your graveyard and draw 1. So he's more draw support, but he is better mid to late game because you have to have 3 engraved to begin with. So turn 1, turn 2, maybe even, not going to activate really anything. Mostly there as one of the level 4s.
And then the last Magical Musketeer monster is 1 Calamity. Card activated in the column's effect can special summon another Magical Musket from grave back to the field. Something important to note is that Calamity and Wild are both level 4s, so those are the 2 targets that you want to see when you're going into something like Utopia Double.
So that will finish it up for the Musketeer monsters. Neither of us play Yugioh. Tragic, but he's not that good. But we agree on 3 copies of Ash Blossom. So playable in every deck. Negate a search, negate a send to grave. A very good card.
Good card. Next, This ends our monster lineup. Now we'll go to the spell and traps. Most important spell is the cross domination. Acts as you can activate target, negate a monster's effects, and its attack goes to 0, if I'm correct.
Yes, so negate effects and drop the attack.
Very good card. This is definitely your best spell.
And then the not as good spell is Magical Musket Steady Hands. This will double the attack of your musket for the turn. They're not really big monsters at all, so it's nice to have a little bit of a way to get a bigger body. It'll double the attack for the turn. Not winning any awards, but it's harmless to play.
We both play 1 Upstart, free draw.
Also, if you play it in the Musket column on your first turn, like summon Starfire, activate Upstart, then big plus.
Exactly.
Up next, sadly, since it's only at 1 in the game right now, 1 copy of Call by the Grave. You don't want to get ashed if you're playing your Link monster or trying to search off of Starfire or Caspar.
We both play 1 copy of Instant Fusion. We do play Instant Fusion targets. Definitely worth it if playing in a column.
And then 1 copy of Double or Nothing. So you don't want to see this in your opening hand, but this really opens up winning like an OTK with Utopia Double. So very good card right there.
We both play 2 copies of Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires is really good in this deck because if you have something like Caspar on the field, you can activate Desires, draw 2. But your opponent's put in a position, if they have an Ash, they either have to Ash the Desires, so they stop you from drawing 2, or they wait and Ash to draw your effect from Caspar. So eventually you're just gaining 2 pluses, so it puts them in an awkward position where they have to negate either one or the other.
Alright, and that's going to be it for Aidan's spells. I have a little more, so since I'm going first, I like to set up something a little defensive. So I'm playing 3 copies of Super Poly. You can set this on the opponent's turn. Dark is very prevalent in the game right now, so you can set these and go into a Starving Venom on your opponent's turn mid-combo. Very nice right there. And then finishing up my spells are going to be 3 copies of Ties of the Brethren. So this is one of the best cards for Muskets because you activate it in their column.
Absolutely.
And you summon 2 monsters from your deck with the same type and attribute as your targeted monster. You pay 2,000, give up a battle phase for that turn, but you're going first. Then you're finishing with 3 muskets if you can resolve this. And then if you play it off of Caspar, search for more stuff. So very nice right there. Now, Aidan, what do we have next?
We both play 1 copy of, this is beginning of the traps, we both play 1 copy of Feindish Deal. You don't really see this too often, or not too much, but it makes your monsters unaffected by card effects, your Magical Musketeer, and they can't be destroyed by it. Correction, they can't be destroyed by card effects.
Right.
But it's worth it to play at 1.
And if that's destroyed, then you're able to search for a musket card except Fiendish Deal. Not that you'd ever play more than 1, I'd say. Next, we have 3 copies of Desperado. So this is really nice because since you can play your musket traps from your hand, this is a free pop then. So very good at 3, I'd say.
Next, we play 1 copy of Dancing Needle. This card's really, it can be really clutch. It's basically, when you activate it, you can target 3 monsters in your opponent's graveyard and just banish them.
Oh yeah.
It can be very helpful in certain matchups.
Agreed.
It's funny.
And then the next card, we play 3 copies of Magical Musket Last Stand. This is the sibling card to Cross Domination, where that would negate monster effects. Last Stand will negate spell and trap activation. So very nice if you can have this when you're going first. Negate your opponent's first spell or trap, especially if it's like their Rhoda or something along those lines. So very good right there.
Then to kind of go off of, we each have, so that pretty much rounds out our similarities.
Right.
Now we have just a few minor differences that we'll go over. So a couple of the differences that I have is that I play 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. I know we're backtracking a little bit with the spells coming back now, but spell trap removal is pretty good for going second in this deck. I also play 1 copy of Monster Reborn. Very nice considering that, they're not the most protected, the Magical Musketeers on field, so sometimes it's important to just be able to bring them back in certain scenarios. And then since mine is going second, I play Triple Evenly Matched. It's a good card going second, especially if they don't really have an answer to it, and it can bait out negates if anything.
Right. And then since I'm going first, I like to play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Set this on my opponent's turn, I get a negate, and then I can also block out one of their columns. So I want to play this on a column that I don't have a musket, so that way it kind of makes them come closer to where I can activate my own effect. So it's a little cheeky, I gotta say.
Alright, so that rounds out the main decks for both of us. I play a 40-card main deck.
And I'm playing 42.
Okay.
So
now we're going to go into our extra deck. Also, for the most part, fairly similar, but we do, again, have a couple differences. So we'll start off by going with triple Magical Musketeer MAX. This is the most important extra deck card. It's absolutely ridiculous. What this does is that if you gain advantage by either monsters or by spell or traps, depending on what card your opponent has on the field. So if they have spell or traps set, when you special summon this card, when you link summon this card, you can special summon Magical Musketeer monsters to your field equal to the number of spell and traps that they have activated on their field, or activated or set. And then the inverse effect, where if they have monsters on field, so if they have 4 monsters on field, the effect would be you can add Magical Musket spell or traps equal to the number of monsters they control. So this card is absolutely amazing going second, or going first, setting up your own board and then going second, you'll be able to hit again with this. So it's definitely the most important extra deck monster.
Right. So it's better for going second, but if you're playing muskets, you have to play them at 3. Then Aidan and I agree on 1 copy of Link Karibo. This helps after you play your instant fusion, just so you can get rid of your restrict and finish off with a little bit of protection.
We both play 1 copy of Borolo Dragon.
Well, a Boral, I should say.
Boral. I play Boral Load, and then Andrew plays Boral Sword. Good, relatively generic, Link 4s.
And then I have 1 more Link monster, so I'll get that out of the way first.
Sure.
So I'm playing 1 copy of Zeraboros. Good for removing problem cards in the opponent's field, and something that Andrew on the team pointed out to me is if you want to play this and summon it against Salamangrates, point it up to both extra monster zones. I didn't think about that before, so props to him. Very annoying for them, but very good for us.
Very hard to out, especially for Salads, if I could just make a remark, because they're basically screwed if you do that.
Oh yeah.
Very, very good. Zeraboros is one of the more underrated Link monsters.
Alright, I play a couple extra Link monsters. So I play 1 Pentastag. Very good at attacking defense position monsters, especially when you get something like Utopia Double going. And then I play some of the Nightmare packages. So I play 1 Cerberus, 1 Phoenix, and 1 Unicorn. Good generic, Link monsters.
And then moving into the XYZ lineup, Aidan and I are both playing a copy of Utopia Double and a copy of Utopia, but I'm also playing a copy of Lightning, so I can summon a double, activate grab double for nothing, swing with Utopia, 10,000 attack, and if I don't kill that turn, then I can sit on top of Lightning for next time.
Right. We also play a couple more similar XYZ monsters. We both play Baguska. Great for stalling. And we both play 1 copy of Abyss Dweller. Great for negating graveyard effects in certain scenarios.
Right, and then something a little different that we play. I play a copy of Castel the Sky Blaster. A Musketeer, but not a Magical Musketeer, so sadly that doesn't totally work out. He's good for removing some cards, putting monsters face down, and I also play a copy, a little spice tech that I discovered a little ways back, number 3 Cicada King. So I like him a lot because if I can get 2 level 3s on field, then he is a negate with a 2500 defense, and if I negate something, he gets even bigger in defense. So, personal preference, I like him a lot.
Then the last Link monster that I play, that's a little separate, is I play number 60 Durgris Timeless. The effects don't really come up too often, but it's nice to have. There's definitely much cheaper alternatives that you can run instead of this card, but I happen to have it, so I tend to use it.
Right. And then we both agree on a copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict. So very nice for going second. Or if your opponent has anything on field, play the Instant Fusion, pay 1,000, summon him, take a monster, then link off into Link Karibo. So a nice way to get rid of an monster in the opponent's field, also link into a very good monster. And then finally, I'm playing a copy of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, super generic, super ply target, very good.
So that rounds out both of our extra decks. Now we know the way we presented these decks can be a little confusing, how we were going back and forth. However, like team member Andrew said, we're going to post our deck lists in the description so that you can maybe try both out if you like, and then see what you think is better. I do have a quick side deck I'm willing to go over. Andrew does not, but
I will sit down and
that
shut
is
up.
okay. So note this is for the going second, what I like to do. So something that I like to run is I have triple copies of Droll and Lockbird. Great, a good hand trap. I play triple copies of Impermanence because I have them and they're good.
And it's a gold.
And it's a gold. The gold's a little gaudy, but
Now we love gold.
I like the gold.
We love gold on here. Team memes, not
we play triple copies of Dark Ruler No More because
it's good.
it's a good card and you can kind of do some nutty stuff with it, a lot of ways. I do side Ties of the Brethren because going first,
It's good.
you want to side this in, or I like to side this in because, it's nice. And then I also play triple copies of Solemn Strike because
It's good.
it's good, and I like to do Strike instead of Judgment because it's only a 1,500 life point cost, and since the Magical Muskets don't have that high of attack, sometimes life points can get pretty low per duel, so you want to try and limit the damage as much as possible.
Oh yeah.
But that rounds out my side deck. So overall, what do you think about Magical Muskets?
Well, I've been playing them since release, so I wouldn't say they're my favorite deck. But personally speaking, every time I play them at a tournament, they do pretty well, if not very well. So if you're interested in an archetype that works pretty wacky, playing your traps like spells, like ammo, because guns. If you're interested in something like that, Muskets is a very fun deck. It's not amazing, it's not terrible, it's somewhere in the middle, it's kind of memey, like most decks we profile here. But overall, I think it is a solid option. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of the cards got the more expensive cards. They got reprinted recently.
So very budget now.
It's a lot more budget than it used to be, for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely a cool option. And again, the column mechanic is something not really too explored in Yu-Gi-Oh. So it's an interesting concept. So it can definitely turn some heads, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, anything else left to say on your end?
Happy dueling.
Thank you all. I hope you have a great day, and hopefully you like and subscribe, and hopefully you tune in next time for another fantastic deck profile.
Absolutely. This has been Magical Musketeers from team member Aidan and Andrew. Thank you so much for showcasing today. As Aidan said, like, subscribe, leave a comment with what you liked, what you didn't like, any questions, all that good stuff. We're happy to help, and we'll catch you next time here on Team Memes Not Meta.